Bad news for renters in 2023 as house prices are tipped to pick up.
Asking prices for home sales in some Sydney and Melbourne suburbs were hit the hardest during the rate rises, and they're actually starting to pick up. A move that could eventually pave the way for a recovery for the broader market, industry insiders say.
Melbourne median house prices could gain up to $45,000 next year in a market tick up that could see tenants needing to find an extra $60 a week. Despite 7 consecutive rate rises this year, with the cash rate going to 2.85%, SQM research is expected the cash rate not to go above 4%, and they're expecting some big things in the market next year.
Analysts by Suburb Trends found that some markets have been falling by more than 15% over the last 6 months and now posting a rise in asking prices amid falling inventory levels. SQM research says asking prices have jumped by 8.5% over the last 4 weeks alone in Sydney's eastern suburb, whilst listings have dropped by 3%. Add to this, the COVID-induced boom for Australia's regional housing market has burst. Several regional markets that had the strongest value increases over the boom are now among the fastest declining markets, says CoreLogic.
We are noticing a bit of a backwards shift from sea changes and the tree changes having to go back to the cities for job reasons, even for pay rises, because the cost of living is going up. And unfortunately, with some of those regional and work from home jobs, it isn't keeping up with the pay rises that people are needing.
In SQM's recently boom bust report by Lewis Christopher, the firm's base case scenario estimated metropolitan dwelling prices could rise between 3 and 7%, driven by shortages in rental, workers returning to the office, and a spike in demand in residential properties due to overseas arrivals and more.
In Melbourne, the report noted that increased demand for rental accommodation from students, workers, and tourists has actually led to a decline in affordability this year, which is causing some of those rent shortages. SQM has forecasted rent rises of up to 13% in 2023, which could drive Melbourne's typical rent from $465 a week for a house up to $525 per week.
Kent, founder of Suburb Trends, said by tracking both month-to-month changes in both inventory and asking prices, we can start to see some green shoots appearing. As every month passes, we nudge closer to the bottom of the market. Evidence suggests that we may have reached the end of the downturn.
So what does this mean if you're renting? First off, if you're renting at the moment, it looks like there's going to be potentially more pressure on weekly rents next year. So if you are coming up for rent renew, it could be worth trying to renew for more than 6 months, potentially try and lock in for 12 months. If you can do longer, try and get that rental cost in there, because it looks like there's going to be more pressure with rates increasing next year and potentially with more people coming into the cities, pushing up those rental prices. Overall, this is going to get driven by lack of supply. We've still got supply chain issues, construction industry is still in the doghouse, and there's not going to be new properties being built. Add to that, we're going to have more arrivals. We're going to have more people trying to get into the market. It's definitely going to put extra pressure on those rental prices. If you're thinking about buying a home next year, it does look like, based on a lot of the stats published by SQM, that there's going to be more price growth. It's crazy to think about it, but it looks like it could resume next year as they're tipping in some of those major centers. Fortunately, if you are buying, there are a couple of grants that are available. There's the first home loan deposit scheme or the home guarantee scheme, where you can buy with as little as 5% deposit. Have a chat to us. We're mortgage brokers. We can help out with that and make sure if you're eligible, because it could mean you can get into the market with as little as a 5% deposit. The government has started to engage industry bodies, some super funds, on some of their social housing and affordable housing schemes. But unfortunately, it looks like that's going to be potentially years down the pipeline. So it's really not going to solve anything in the short term. Before, in previous cycles, the property market has gone backwards for a maximum of sort of 12 to 18 months to hit the bottom and start to come up. So we could start seeing the market recovering as early as next year, as we've covered. And really, no one knows. Lots of things can happen. Even Louis Christopher's figures, he has different scenarios from current to Goldilocks to completely catastrophic if unemployment hits 7 or 8%, which is looking incredibly unlikely. With property, it's not necessarily about sort of timing the market. It needs to be the right time for you, but it's more about your time in the market. So if you are looking at getting the market and you do need help with finance, hit us up at Hunter Galloway. We're mortgage brokers. We help home buyers across Australia. You can get in touch with Nathan and I at huntergalloway.com.au. We'd love to help you out.